Hi there, everyone, and welcome to summer school. So for summer school, we're going to be doing our OT sessions at 11:30 on Tuesdays. So our live Zoom will be 11:30 Tuesdays. For the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to be practicing our letters. We're going to be using Play-Doh and then making a rip and glue letter collage. So I've got paper, Play-Doh, something to write with, glue, and then you'll need paper that you want to rip to make your letters. I'm using this flyer that I got in the mail because it's got a lot of fun colors inside. You can also just use another piece of construction paper or different colors of construction paper if you don't have any junk mail laying around. So for the first thing that we're going to do, I think we'll practice making 5. We'll see how many we get done in our session. Sometimes things don't go as quick as I plan, but for now I'll do 5. 5 letters with our Play-Doh. And I'm going to do just magic C letters. You can pick which letters you practice based on what your child needs a little bit of extra practice with. But parents, go ahead and write the letter for your child first so that they see the correct way to make it. Magic C, up and down makes an A. Magic C, up, down is a D. So I'm writing all of my letters on the paper first. You could do them one at a time with your child if that helps them focus a little bit better rather than having all of them on the paper at once. But this way they get to see the correct way to make the letter. And then I'm also going to add my start dot. I'm actually going to make it a start star so that whenever I'm putting my Play-Doh on, I know the right place to start. It's just an extra little reminder that my magic C starts there. I used yellow. It's a little bit hard to see on the camera, but I use yellow because yellow is my visual reminder of magic C letters. If I was going to do the diver letters, I tend to use blue as my diver. Dive down, swim back up and around for a D. Dive down, back up and around for a P. Whatever letters you're practicing, draw them, write them first for your child so that they have a good example of what the letter looks like. And there's all my start stars again, so they know where those letters start. Then go ahead and make little line shapes with your Play-Doh. This is great practice for those little fingers. Gets the hands ready if you were going to be doing a writing activity later. And if I'm doing the divers, I'm going to always start at the top with that line down, swim back up and around. And then if I'm doing the magic C's, I would want to always start with that magic C formation. I've got my C shape here, and then I would say magic C goes up, back down, and around for a G. You can either do it in these lines like I've done, or like we've practiced before, you can take little pieces of Play-Doh and stick them on to go all the way around in the right order. If your child tries to start the letter at the bottom, or if they start going in the wrong direction, it's nice when you're working with Play-Doh because it's easier to stop in the middle and correct that versus if you start writing incorrectly with a marker or a crayon. Once that line is on the paper, it's there and you can't really correct it as easily. But if I started going that way with the Play-Doh, then you can say, oh, wait, remember, we need to start with a magic C. So your child can take that off and go back around for the magic C. That's why Play-Doh is great. It's a little bit more flexible for teaching the letter shapes. So once you've practiced your letters with the Play-Doh, the next thing that we're going to do is our rip and glue letter collage. So I'm just going to think of a fun summer word. I'm going to put play, and I'm actually going to, my paper's black, so that's not the best. I'll switch. I'm going to switch to a red paper here. I'm going to put my diver letters in blue, dive down, back up and around, and then just my everyday letters in gray. L, you might think L is a diver because it starts at the top and dives down. But like we explained to the kids, if it doesn't swim back up, then it's not a diver. And then A is a magic C. So I'm going to make that one yellow. And then Y. So parents, go ahead and write the word out for your child. You can always put those start dots or start stars as reminders. Oh, my brain is thinking because I'm upside down. Little line down, big line down. Little line, big line, good. Had to double check myself on that. And then, once you have the letters, you need to rip a great big pile of little confetti almost. Oh, one tip for parents, make your letters bigger than you think. When I do this activity sometimes without thinking, I'll make smaller letters and I think, oh yeah, that's plenty of room. But then whenever your child is ripping the pieces of paper, if they stick it on there, it's really hard to make the pieces of paper small enough that you can actually read the word. And when you're done, you want a nice product, an end product to look at that you can actually read. It doesn't just look like a blob of paper. So I'm going to rip. I'm going to do a lot of ripping first, and then I'm going to do my gluing. So I'm going to make a pile of little pieces of paper. What you can do is on an extra sheet on the side, or you can rip an example piece. That's probably better. Rip an example for your child and let them know you should tear your paper about this small. And then whenever they are ripping, they can kind of put their piece up next to yours. Sometimes they'll rip a bigger piece and you'll say, wait, is that bigger than my piece or is it just right? And then they'll realize, okay, I need to rip my piece smaller, and just explain to them that if they take this big piece of paper and they stick it onto the P, then it might not exactly look like a P, and they want their work to look nice at the end. So rip and rip and rip, and I won't make you sit and watch while I do all of my tearing, but you'll want your child to get a pretty nice size pile of paper scraps here, because it's going to take quite a few to cover up all of these letters. Now, when I work with your children on activities like this at school, I am in charge of the glue, and that gives me a little bit more control over how they form the letters. So I finally remembered my glue, and now this one is all dried up. Let's see if I've got another one. If you've been to any of my live Zooms, you know if there's one thing I forget, it's glue. So, oh yes, it is our lucky day. I've gotten extra and it's not dried up. So I always put the glue on because that prevents your child from starting somewhere random, from going in the wrong direction. If you put the glue on, then your child is following your lead. So I'm going to put a big line down first, and then they see, okay, that's the first thing that I need to do to make the P is dive down. They'll follow your lead. They'll make that dive down. Ooh, extra little one there. All along, they are working those muscles in their fingers and promoting that fingertip grasp on these tiny pieces of paper. Then when they're done with the dive down, you can add more glue to the swim back up and around. And you see how this is reinforcing those correct letter formations. It's a lot slower pace than just writing with a pencil, a crayon, or a marker. So you're really encouraging your child, oops, that one fell off, you're encouraging your child to remember those correct letter formations. So this is what we'll be working on in our live Zoom session, 11:30 to 12 o'clock today. Hope you can join us there. And if not, always feel free to respond back to that email with any questions or concerns that you might have. I'm looking forward to working with you all for summer school. Thank you.